2 days and typically do that. But Ricardo wanted the accused to come to court so that it could be a more formal understanding of what's happening. And during that time for this morning is Ricardo's not telling me she is wanting to have a bond set by the court. State as opposed.
Yeah, this is the one where she's like 17 and she's got already like
She's had 7
half-
charges,
yeah.
2 of them
She's
failure.
19, Judge.
okay, 19, 19,
19.
right? Yeah. Sorry, I can't. Just you scare me, man. I can't. They're all very violent cases now. You know, you're wanted as state for another. You know, sorry.
Judge, if I may,
Sure.
in talking to my client, you know, she's made valid points to me, and of course, I'm just.
I know you're advocating for your client, and I'm never going to begrudge anyone for advocating. It's your job, I know. But you're 19 years old. You've got 7 priors already. You're wanted out of another state. There are multiple aggravated assault cases. You've got 2 failure to appears. At some point, we have to say when. And now's that point. You scared me, really. I don't want anything else to happen. So,
7 priors to failure to appears, and she's only 19? This isn't just a rough start. It's a dangerous pattern. And when even the judge admits she scares him, you know, we're not in routine court territory anymore.
So the extension was originally granted by Judge Jackson out to the, I want to misspeak. 24th.
I'm not doing any more. If they don't come here by that point, she gets released. Okay, all right, thanks.
Judge.
Thanks, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Esquivel, you are charged with violation of a bond or protective order. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On January 8th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, the officers were conducting surveillance on the defendant who had active warrants out of the 178th as part of a fugitive task force when they observed the defendant's vehicle parked at a location where the defendant was prohibited from going due to an active protection order. The officers then observed the vehicle drive away, driven by the complainant of the defendant's open case in the 178th. The officers then observed the vehicle to have an expired registration and initiated a traffic stop. The officer then found the defendant hiding in the back seat. Both the complainant and the defendant acknowledged that the defendant was prohibited from the residence.
So she was at the
She was at
residence.
the complainant's residence, yes.
Was she with the complaining witness?
Caught at the exact location she's banned from, with the protected person, and hiding in the back seat? That's not a coincidence. That's bold disregard for the law. What would you do if you were the asterisk?
As well.
Yes. They
Okay,
were
so
together.
how bad are we talking the ag assault? Do you mind telling me about that?
I'll tell you about the ag assault, Your Honor. So in the aggravated assault, the officers were dispatched to a disturbance and they met with the complainant who stated he was involved in a verbal altercation at a bar earlier in the morning. And then once the complainant arrived home, he was locked out of his house and had to force the door open. And that started another disturbance with the defendant. The defendant threw several items at the complainant and the defendant began to strike the complainant on the back of his neck several times with their hands. And the officer observed the complainant to have red scratch marks on his neck. Further, the defendant retrieved a black compact handgun and pointed at the complainant and racked the slide, thereby placing the complainant in fear for his life.
Okay. Ms. Esquivel, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I want you to understand something very, very clear. The Texas Constitution does not allow me but in extremely limited circumstances to hold someone at bond. Zero bond. This is that situation. I'm going to put a protective order naming this person as a protected individual. If you so much
Is the legal version of a final warning. 0 bond, no contact, no weapons, and one mistake could send her straight back behind bars. The judge isn't just setting rules. He's drawing a line in the sand.
just do anything to violate any of these conditions, I can have a hearing to hold you at no bond. And I will do it in a heartbeat to protect every person in my county. Do you understand? You are not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. No weapons, no contact with the complaining witness, and no going. I'm assuming, is it a he, she? Well, it doesn't matter. You're not to have any contact. Don't go anywhere where this person lives. works, anything. Do you understand? I don't want to talk about the case, but
President, I'm a little
Oh.
confused.
who's your lawyer?
Robert Valles, and he's on my case. He was supposed to be here this morning. I'm a little confused.
Do you know, has Bo said he's going to show? We had no idea that you have a lawyer. Okay, so let's do this. What I can do is I can have you take a seat. We'll wait for him to get here. But regardless, I'm putting these conditions on your bond. I've found that probable cause exists to go forward with your case. The only thing I'm telling you now, don't violate any of these conditions because there are severe consequences.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll go through it again when your lawyer gets here, but just don't leave until he gets here, okay?
Your Honor.
For now, I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you get signed for your conditions. Just take a seat momentarily. Well, once he gets here, then we'll go through it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Have you heard PC on this, Bo, yet?
Yes, sir. So, Your Honor, yesterday, she was on the docket actually so she was on bond for the case out of the 178th, a assault of a family member. They actually, we went up there yesterday. They had her on the docket. There was some issue with the bond and why she was in custody because she never got noticed. So we addressed that yesterday, but she picked up a violation of protective order because when she was arrested for the bond, for the warrant on that, the victim, the complaining witness, her husband, was in the vehicle with her.
And at the house, allegedly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you telling me that that's wrong?
No, sir. That is correct. And that is correct.
Because the only thing I'm doing is no contact, no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. That's all I did.
Yes, sir. If I may add, Your Honor, the prosecutors yesterday did call. They spoke with the victim who wanted the order lifted. Judge Susan Brown was covering the 178th. She said she was going to she was keeping it in place where she could not go to the home, but she was allowing contact.
Okay, I'll mirror her order then.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know, has a MOA been granted in this case? Do you see if a MOA has been in Ms. Esquivel's case? If a MOA if an order for protection has not been granted, I'm granting one now, ma'am. I'm issuing a protective order that identifies Mr. Longoria as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon. You cannot go within 200 feet of the address listed in the order of protection. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you violate this court order, I'm telling you, at that point, you're going to get hit probably with another felony. It's not hard. Now, you've got a great lawyer. Listen to him and he'll take care of you. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but it is your responsibility to stay in touch with him. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you, I'm going to issue a warrant for your arrest. All right?
I understand. Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
So we'll have you take a seat. We'll craft all the orders. We'll have you sign it. And then after that, you're free to go.
Okay. Would you
All right.
like me to sit?
You can go out there. Bo, do you want this?